Thank you for joining us for the 1-hour Peace Education and Action for Impact information session. I'm the co-chair of the Youth Advisory Council at Rotary International, and I'll be co-hosting this session along with Veronica Botsova, who is the past president of Rotaract Europe. Veronica and I are global team members of Peace Education and Action for Impact. So before we move forward, it would be great to know who is with us today. So please take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat box. Feel free to write where you're from, what affiliated organization you work with, and of course your name. For example, I'm from India, and I work with Rotary International and Peace Education and Action for Impact.
So you want us to talk, or shall we just write it in the chat?
You could just write it in the chat box.
Okay.
Lovely. I can see a lot of responses flooding the chat box, and we're so delighted to have everyone with us. In the meantime, I would like to invite everyone for an interactive activity. So I'll be saying a statement, and if that applies to you, feel free to give us a wave or use the Zoom emoticon. So let's start. If you're a young person, give us a wave or use the Zoom reaction. I can see a lot of hands. That's the power of youth. All right. If you're an adult looking to better support youth leaders, give us a wave or use a reaction. Awesome. And last, but of course, the most important one, if you're dedicated to promoting peace and opposing war, please join in with a wave or a reaction too. I see a lot of waves, a lot of reactions. Well, we can see here the great diversity and shared commitment to youth peace work among us. I would now like to invite Veronica to take the session forward.
Thank you, here. Phil, can we start the presentation, please?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see that?
Yes, we need to make it on the full screen.
Oh, it's on the full screen for me. Oh, can you see it now?
I think you're showing us your presenter view rather than us actually seeing the presentation.
Oh, how's that?
No.
Not yet. If we put it from like the slideshow from the beginning, it should start.
How's that?
Again, it's still in presenters mode.
Okay, can you share from yours maybe then? That's really strange because usually it shares fine, but
1 second.
You might try F5 or clicking the
How's that?
slideshow icon on the bottom.
Funny. Strange.
If I may, I can help. When you're in full screen mode, there's a drop down where you can swap the screens. So if you go into presenter mode again, or F5.
Yes, usually I'm on Zoom all the time, but I don't know why it's not doing it.
I think I have the presentation open if you want me to share.
Please, if you can. That's really strange because
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, no worries. Just have to let me do it and I will do it very quickly. Thank you so much. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Oh, please let me know when you. No. Sorry. There you go. There you go. Let me know when you guys are able to see it.
Yes. We can
Yes.
see.
Perfect. Thank you, Annie. But yeah, it always happens sometimes. We have some technical issues, which we overcome, of
Yes.
course. So yeah, thanks guys for bearing with us. Can we go to the next slide? Yes, we already saw in the chat. Thank you guys. We see that there are many people from many countries and different organizations. So this is very lovely to have this place to get together and talk about more about peace. But just to have in mind what we're going to do today, the agenda is the following. Of course, first welcome and introduction words. Then we're going to talk what exactly is peace education and action for impact. What it is, why we do it, how it works, everything is going to be covered. Then we have three lovely speakers who is going to share the youth and adult perspectives and impact stories. We have a variety of different speakers that are going to cover different aspects of the peace building and educational programs. Then we're going to talk about the future of the Peace Education and Action for Impact program and what is going to happen in 2025. And of course, at the end, we're going to have a short Q&A session and next steps. So if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat and we're going to get to them at the end, or you can, of course, directly ask your questions to our lovely speakers. Thank you. And then to start, can we go to the next one, please? To start talking about what is peace education and action for impact, I would like to introduce to you Phil, who is going to talk about it. So Phil is the educational director for World Beyond War, Rotary Peace Fellow, and Positive Peace Activator. And he's also the author of the program. And he's going to speak more about what is the program itself, why it was created, and how it works. So Phil, thank you again for actually starting the whole initiative and for getting us here. The floor is yours to talk a little bit more about the program.
Wonderful, thank you. And thank you all for your patience. What's just happened now is a real demonstration of peace building in action. Do you know why? Because what happened was that we had problems, technology problems, and we worked together to get through these problems. We collaborated. Annie jumped in, helped sharing the slide. Veronica here, we're managing things and coordinating things. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everybody that's been involved in peace education over the since 2021. Since that time, we've run 2 pilots in 19 countries impacting youth, organizations, communities, Rotary clubs, districts, Rotarians, Rotarian leaders, etc. Without your help, we couldn't do any of this. So thank you, thank you. I'll put my thumb up, Annie, if you can kind of switch it to the next one. Thank you. I will say a little bit about why we started Peace Education Action for Impact. We now have more young people on the planet than ever before, and there's no way of achieving lasting sustainable peace and development that does not involve the meaningful role of young people in these efforts. So we started Peace Education and Action for Impact with this idea in mind. Peace Education Action for Impact has 2 particular parts. One is peace education. So this is peace education online. And during these 6 weeks, people work online to address what we call the knowing, being, and doing, or the head, heart, and hands of peace building. So everything from what is peace education, what is peace, what is conflict, what is violence, what is power, through to how do we address the war system and build a peace system, to peace with self, peace with others, right through to how do we design, implement, and evaluate a peace project. So this is the part 1 of the program. Part 2 of the program is peace action. So education is necessary, but not sufficient. So what we need to do is encourage young people to take what they've learned in peace education programs and implement it through social action projects. So this is what they do in part 2 of the program. They work with a team, a country project team, which is made up of 14 people, 10 young people, age 18 to 35, and then 4 adults. So 2 coordinators who oversee the work in the country, and then 2 mentors who work with the young people throughout the process. And here's a bit of a model here that you can see of how it works in action. So 6 weeks of peace education, and then 8 weeks of peace action. You can move on, Annie, if that's okay. I don't know if it was stalling. Yeah, move on again, please. Keep going through some slides just to give them an example. Here is an example of actually Annie's team. So each country project team is made up of 14 people. So you can see here a real wonderful mix of actually what peace building should all be about. It should be intergenerational. Yes, it should be youth-led as well, but it should be intergenerational. And we're going to hear a little bit later from Janine with regards to work that takes place where young people and not so young people learn from each other and learn with and from each other. So this is an example of the Venezuela team. Next, please. And here are some of the countries that have been involved. I won't go through all of them, but out of the 19 countries, we've had a real mix of war-torn, fragile, violence-affected, conflict-ridden, fragile context, right through to relatively peaceful contexts. So we've had countries, Venezuela, South Sudan, Ukraine, Russia, Iraq, Haiti, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Serbia, right through to countries such as Guernsey, etc., which is relatively peaceful. And at the same time, what this shows is that every single country has their own peace and conflict challenges. And therefore, every single country and every single person needs to have opportunities to learn about ways to deal with conflict in more effective ways. Next, please. Next again. Yeah, we can go through these. So next again. So there's the 2 parts, the 6 weeks of peace education action. Yeah, and again, next again. And the modules broken up into week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next again, Annie. So this is an example of it's learning online, online learning. So the good thing is that different countries have opportunities to engage with each other. So for example, young people from Venezuela could engage with, ask questions of, share experiences with other young people from South Sudan, from Ukraine, from Russia, from Cameroon, from Nigeria, from Kenya, etc. So it's a really kind of learning laboratory where different people with different backgrounds and different divides are brought together to learn together in this learning experience. Next. The program draws from the best of within Rotary, so drawing on the Institute for Economics and Peace methodology, but also the best from the wider peace building field. World Beyond War is one of the leading organizations in the peace building field, and we've got many awards, including the Educators Challenge Award, including the 2021 Peace Prize for innovative approaches to peace education. Next, please. There's the peace action part. So the peace action part is basically taking what you've learned and doing projects in the community. And at the core of it is this idea of intergenerational and cross-cultural work where people learn with and from each other. Next, please, Annie. Here's some examples of some of the projects. So the needs in Ukraine and the needs in Cameroon are different to the needs in Canada. So what each of the projects did, each of the country project teams did, is that they worked together to design, implement, and evaluate projects. We're going to hear from Bjor, who's going to be talking about the project that he did, South Sudan and Kenya. But there was many other projects, some really, really cool projects. For example, the US had some young people who really likes arts in their team, and they put together an album called the Peace Accords, which basically drew from some of the things that they were learning in part 1 of the project. Cameroon, if you go next, please, Annie. Cameroon had a great project where they actually got a letter from one of the ministers to congratulate them on the project. And their project addressed issues of youth exclusion and inclusion in peace building processes. So, and here are some of the other. Nigeria had a great project addressing one of the challenges which is really pressing within Nigeria around school kidnapping. So each project was different. Russia, Ukraine, the Russian young people went into schools online and trained the young people in Ukraine, and the Ukraine did it vice versa in Russia. So really, really brilliant project, bridging these 2 different cultures. Next, please. And here's an example of what happened. So if you go through the 6 weeks of peace education, then the 8 weeks of action, at the end, young people and the people that support young people, so Rotarians, but also other organizations, have an international platform to share their work to an international audience with regards to what the young people learnt on the project, the impact that it had for the young people, but also the impact that it had for the communities, because the projects are designed and implemented directly to address urgent community needs. You might recognize some of the faces on here. So there's the end of project celebration. Next, please. Now it's over to hear about well, from the participants themselves. So yes, please take it away. Whoever's next to take it away. I think it's you here. So thank you so much. Hopefully, I've given an overview of what Peace Education Action for Impact is, why it was created to address these gaps within the field between education and action, and also what we've achieved so far. So over to you. Thanks, here.
Thank you, Dr. Phil. Now that we've learned about PEAI, what it is, why it was created, and how it works, we'll directly hear from 3 lovely participants from the 2021 and 23 cohorts. Instead of reading lengthy bios, we've chosen to spend the time listening to these young members share their own experiences and learnings and the impact of PEAI on their lives in their own words. First up, I would like to invite Aniela Carasio, popularly known within Rotary as Annie, to share her experience and learnings from the peace education aspect of PEAI. Annie is a young participant from Venezuela, and she is a past co-chair of the Youth Advisory Council at Rotary International. Over to you, Annie.
Thank you, lovely. It's so nice to see you and so nice to speak after you. We had the privilege to serve in the Rotary International Youth Advisory Council for a couple of years together, and it's lovely to see young people involved in peace in Rotary. So thank you so much. I can talk about this program forever, all day, all night, if somebody asked me, and sharing just a little bit of how transformational it was from the educational perspective is truly an honor. For the record, I was born and raised in Venezuela. And I was a Rotary Youth Exchange student to the United States when I was 17. And the pandemic happened, and I ended up staying in the United States because of the pandemic and the situation in Venezuela. So basically, I'm an expat because what's going on in Venezuela and the dictatorship and the human rights violations and the violence and so on. So peace has been a topic dear to my heart ever since I can remember, because how I was raised. So I was introduced to the concept of peace as a Rotary Youth Exchange student, to the concept that there's different cultures, and I wanted to learn, but I never really, so I was 17, 19, I never really had the opportunity to get information that makes sense to me, right? I thought about, I want to learn, so I met Phil. Phil invited me to learn about this, and it was the first court, and I was like, we need this. We need to bring this information to Venezuela, and we were able. I serve as sort of a coordinator for a team, and we participated in the first court, and it was, as I said, transformational, because we got access to university level materials in our own computers. We will have never, in Venezuela, in the level and the conditions that the education in Venezuela looks like, we will have never been able to access such good quality material, that it wasn't just the theory of what peace is, but how does it look like in our head? So what's the theory like? How do we feel the peace, and how do we make peace happen with our hands? So what Phil was talking about earlier, head, heart, and hands, that was very, very transformational. And it also gave us the opportunity to reflect on it, because it was, okay, so this is what we read, this is what we understand, but like, what does it mean for me, and what does it mean for in my life? So in this process, we learned a little bit about, how to be in peace with ourselves, how to be in peace with others. And in that process, we were talking about it in our team, and we decided to start a podcast reflecting on each of the modules. So you can find in the Word Beyond War YouTube channel, I believe, our team, the Venezuelan team, we started reflecting in Spanish in our own language what we understood in each module, and there were beautiful conversations that helped us really. It wasn't. We didn't do the podcast for the public. We did it for us and to reflect and really make sure that everything that we were learning makes sense for us, to be able to implement it in our countries or wherever we lived. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. And at the time, we had people from all backgrounds. I had just graduated from high school. We had people that were in university. We had people that had already graduated from university and were in the professional setting. And I mean, in our team, we had team members from the ages of 19 to 40 something. No, not 40 something. 30 something, maybe. It was beautiful to share our reflections and what we learned. So highly, highly recommend this program. Very honored to be part of the first cohort. And just I'm in university right now. I go to the University of Nova Southeastern in Fort Lauderdale in Florida. And there is one class that I took about peace and conflict resolution. And it's not even a quarter of the quality of what we learn in this program. So I just want to thank Phil, WorldBeyondWar and Rotary for making this possible. And as I said, I can talk about it forever. But I'm just gonna let Veronica, I believe, take it over.
Thank you so much, Annie. Thank you for sharing your story. I believe for every participant in the program, after they finish the program, they're going to feel the same way. So we're very happy that we're having you back here and you can inspire many more people to participate. Next, we're going to talk with Björn Garan, who is representing South Sudan and Kenya. He's part of Fields of Peace, which is dedicated to ensuring that children are at the heart of the global peace efforts. Also board member and past peace trainer at Ignite Peace Circles, and he was also participant in our 2021 program. So Björn, I'm going to give the word to you to share your experience.
Thank you, Veronica, and thank you, Anil, for the conversation. And good morning, good evening, and good night to all who are tuned in, wherever you are from this part of the planet. So my name is Samuel Björn Nathaniel Garang, as I've been introduced. I'm a South Sudanese urban refugee currently in Kenya. I'm what you call a protracted refugee, an individual who has stayed in refugee for a long period of time. I've been a refugee for close to 32 years now, since my early childhood when we were displaced in South Sudan until currently. I'm still here as a refugee in Kenya. So I'm going to briefly converse and reflect on how to carry out a youth-led, adult-supported, and community-rooted peace projects, because within the PEAI, the major core is to actually have a project that is impactful within the community, because after you get into the gritty details of what a peace project is, or what peace work is, or what peace is, then it becomes relevant for you to actually have a concrete peace project that you can be able to do. And the best thing to always have a successful peace project is not to do it for the community, but with the community in collaboration with other entities. And that's what I'm briefly going to discuss on, especially regarding my peace building works and what I usually do with the youths, with refugee youths here in Kenya. And I would like to start with a quote that I always start my conversations with. And it's from Diana Neer that says, "It is the obligation of every person born in a safe room to open the door when someone in danger knocks." And that quote always resonates with all peace builders and every individual who's actually in need, because when you engage in a peace project, the action is actually to reach the people and to be able to have an impact within the community. And I think that I usually like to use that quotation. Now, in terms of understanding what a peace project is, I'm not going to elaborate on this, because when you take the course, you'll be able to go through all this in details. And in doing a peace project, there are always six major steps that you can be able to do. I apologize for the background noise, because I'm in a household that is full of kids, and there are kids around. You might be able to hear a lot of shouting and a lot of running around. So I do apologize, but I will be quick and minimize the sound. So whenever you're doing a peace project, the first thing is to always be able to understand the project that you are trying to do. So understand your peace project, the community that you come in from, what the impact you want to be, because the first thing when you do a peace project is you start with the output or the end in mind, so that what you want this project to be, what you want it to achieve. And it does not have to be a complicated or a budget costing project, because when you do a peace project in collaboration with the communities rather than for the communities, then it is the communities that will be able to get the resources for you, because the people themselves are the resources. And that's what we have actually been realized in most of the peace projects that we do with the youths and with the communities. So secondly, you design your peace project. After you have understood what your peace project is, you get to design it, because you cannot just carry out a peace project when you don't have a plan and a concrete action in place. And in terms of designing it, you have to have what is known as a smart peace project. That is, it has to be specific, measurable, attainable, and time-bound. And after you design that peace project, then you have to implement it, because after you have it in paper, after you have all the steps, you have now to implement it. This is where collaboration comes in, and this is where you have to be open-minded, because when you are doing a peace project, it means that you engage heavily with the communities, and you'll have a lot of individuals to be able to engage in. And as such, you have to have a lot of inter-collaboration skills in order to be able to bring in a lot of individuals. Such as Phil said, it has to be intergenerational. You'll be dealing with youths, you'll be dealing with older person, people with disabilities, and people who are coming from different walks of life. So in implementing your project, you have to be very collaborative and open-minded. The next fourth step is usually to monitor your project, because once you implement it, you have to know, is the project actually delivering what you wanted to deliver? Is the project running in the direction that you wanted it to run? And you have to have tools where you can be able to monitor and see how this project of yours is running. So it can be as simple as you just having questionnaires, which you can be able to distribute maybe to the ones that you are trying to impact with your project, or you can have it as elaborate as maybe getting a third-party body that can be able to see and measure if your project is actually delivering what you had planned. Now, this fifth step is to evaluate. When you evaluate that project, then you get to know if it's actually working. Now, the last and not least is communicate your project, because once you have actually delivered your project, you have validated that it's actually functioning, and the project is implemented, you have achieved, you have collected your results, then you have to communicate it, because every peace project has to be communicated, everything has to be celebrated. So in communicating the success, or there's nothing as a failed peace project, because once you start it, it always gets to be a success. So you get to celebrate whatever you have been able to achieve, and you have to let the world know that there's a peace project that you have been able to deliver. So those are basically the 6 major steps that are key whenever you are doing any peace project. And in coming to my reflections and what peace education and action for impact has actually done in terms of my peace work and the work that I do within refugee communities, I would be able to say that it's unquantifiable, because the interactions that I had with individuals from different parts of the world opened my eyes up in terms of how I can be able to design my community projects, and how we can be able to interact with the communities, and how we can be able to build up the youth so that they become the change within the communities themselves. And the images that you are seeing are some of the communications that we had for our peace building projects, the ones that we did. Such as a work that we had with the refugees to be able to sensitize the local host communities on the needs of the refugees within their communities. And I think once you get to start off a peace project, it builds, and it gets to be able to add only to your own personal and experiences, but your whole professional sphere. So I hope you got something from how to be able to implement a peace project. And I'd like to thank all of you. I'd like to thank Phil and the whole board of World Beyond War, and everybody else who has tuned in. And I hope the new cohort will be able to gain like we gained in 2001, because there's always something new that you can be able to get when you collaborate and when you work together. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Vio. I think your experience truly encapsulates what we are trying to achieve. Next up, we have Janine Burtwhistle from Guernsey. She currently works with Rotary International in Great Britain and Ireland and is a humanitarian specialist service advisor team lead. Janine, please take the stage and feel free to share your experience with an emphasis on intergenerational dialogue and cross-cultural engagements.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this session today. I have been involved with Rotary since 1989, when I was a young professional, I think I was called at the time, and took part in a program. And that was an eye-opening program for me, because I went to the United States and I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about other people. And I think that's a really important part of this program, is actually peace does start within yourself. And it doesn't matter how old or how young, it doesn't matter where you're from, whether it's on the face of it, a peaceful community, which I have to say, Guernsey, which is where I live and where we had our team from, is very much on the face of it, a peaceful community. Or whether it's somewhere like, for instance, Haiti was another team that was taking part when we took part. But the very fact that we had a complete mix of people in our Guernsey team, so the young people working with the coordinators and the facilitators, we were all part of a team. We all learned from each other. We all helped others to learn from us. And it wasn't just within that team, it was the people that we were engaging with within our communities as well. For some people, there was no comparison from where they started to where they ended up, with their confidence, their appreciation of how important talking to others, being open and respectful, and allowing others to speak. World Beyond War, when I was trying to attract youngsters to take part in this amazing program in Guernsey, it was pretty tough. Guernsey's peaceful. Why do we need to do something about World Beyond War? And actually, by the end of it, I think for the participants in Guernsey, it was very much more about the fact that we are one human race on one planet Earth, and that we need to work with and collaborate with and learn from each other. And this was a fantastic way of doing it, linking the theories, or some of the theories, to the practice, putting a project into action, and in fact, making it really relevant to the things that mattered to the young people in our community right here in Guernsey. And in fact, our project really focused around mental health and well-being, because of that's where it started for the youngsters. And also, we found that when we were having the team meetings with other teams, and I would emphasize, if you're going to do this program, please, please, please make time to have that interaction with other teams as well, because that was a really rich source of learning for everybody involved. But when you actually looked at the issues for young people, many of them, whether they were living in areas of conflict, whether they were refugees, whether they were living in supposedly peaceful communities, whatever stage they were at in their life, their career, or whatever, the most important thing was their own well-being. And it's only when you start with the peace in yourself that you can help others with that piece. And there was a lot of learning for me on that, and for the rest of the team. I can't recommend this enough. It really is a fantastic program to be involved with. It's like everything else, the more effort you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. But the learning never leaves you. There are things that you will suddenly see on the television or in a conversation, whether it's with your own family or you move on to a different country or whatever, and you'll think, oh, yeah, okay, I know what to do with that. I know how to overcome that challenge. So go for it, work intergenerationally. Don't make assumptions that because somebody is a professor, or somebody has got a really successful career, or someone who's just started in high school, don't assume that one person knows more about something than the other. Be open, be willing to talk, be willing to respect others, and listen. Really important, the listening. I hope that gives you a little snapshot of the importance of the intergenerational and the cross-cultural engagement, because for me, that's one of the magic drops of this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine, and thank you to the other speakers as well, Annie and Björn. Thank you so much. Yes, it did give a wonderful perspective in terms of the importance around intergenerational and cross-cultural. If we think of the three speakers, they really touched on the three core pillars of the program. Annie, education in particular. Education that is significant in terms of being different from traditional schooling or university education, which is just about this. That's necessary. The head part, the knowing part is necessary, but it's not sufficient. We need to develop the whole person, the whole peace builder. And this involves connecting the head, the heart, the hands. But of course, education is necessary but not sufficient. What we need to do is action, and Björn give a wonderful perspective in terms of what it takes to design, implement, evaluate and communicate a peace project, because that's what people learn on the Peace Education and Action for Impact adventure or experience. So that's education, action, and then the third one Janine spoke about was really connection. This connection, you know, we're one human race on one planet. That is so fundamental to learn that, especially in today's age, which is increasingly polarizing world. We live on a globalized planet, and we need to learn to get along with different people from different backgrounds, different generations, different cultures, a whole lot better. So Peace Education Action for Impact is one way of bringing people together. And one of the things that was really interesting, Janine touched on it, some of the countries, probably more so in 2021, organised outside of the Peace Education Action Project to connect with each other. So Canada and Colombia connected loads of times with each other outside of the Peace Education Action for Impact project. And they still stay in contact today after 2021. So yes, thank you so much to the speakers. What we want to do now is we've looked at the past and the present. We want to think about now the future, and in particularly ways in which people can get involved. And what I wanted to introduce now is Tom Baker, who has been involved from Peace Education Action for Impact right from the beginning. He's been a massive support. He's a Rotarian leader. He's a positive peace activator. And he's a really nice guy, as well as being a really brilliant educator as well, with a wonderful track record in education. So thank you, Tom, for everything that you do, and over to you, please. Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, thank you, Phil. It's been a privilege to work with Phil and the other global team members, and we're looking forward to doing our third iteration beginning in February 2025. You know, when we started this program, it was right at the tail end of COVID, and so we were doing a lot of our collaborating and work together on Zoom, and hopefully the new teams will be able to meet in person much more often and as they work together on these projects. So can you put up the slide?
Slides up. Oh.
My slide.
Which slide? Which slide, Tom? Can you see?
Next one. Oh wait.
The one before. Yeah. The one before, probably.
Yeah. No.
The one that shows the
different roles.
5 countries.
There. Why don't we show the roles first?
Yeah.
Back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So these teams involve at least 14 people. The target group really is the young adults, age 18 to 35. And these are the people that are taking the course. They're the ones that are identifying, developing, and implementing the project. But we also want to have this intergenerational involvement too. So For each team, we need to recruit 2 mentors, and they work with the young adults and helping to guide them and mentor them as they go along. And the coordinator roles really are to promote and recruit mentors and youth for this program, and then also to help with securing funds if a team needs scholarships. Some country teams can fund their own program, and others needs maybe a little bit of help or a lot of help. And that's where the coordinators come in recruiting mentors. They also are the ones that approve the team members for their teams. Next slide.
You probably mean the previous one, do you, with the countries?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
So we're going to be doing our next iteration February 2025. We have room for 10 country teams. And currently we're in discussion with these countries. And hopefully after this information session, we'll be able to confirm these groups. And then also we'd love to recruit more teams so that we have 10 teams. And so, yeah, I think that's all that I have to say, Phil.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, so 10 teams possible. Currently, we're in discussions with the 5 that Tom mentioned. So as a reminder, questions come in the chat, and maybe it can be addressed more so in the question answers. But each team is made up of 14 people, as Tom explained, and the question was around, well, how do you recruit the teams? We have a document and guidance with regards to roles and responsibilities for the coordinator, the mentor, the youth, but it is you in your local context who are the experts in your context. So, for example, Janine here, she recruited the team in collaboration with others. And the same was done in other countries as well, with Bjor, with Annie in Venezuela, with Bjor in South Sudan. They recruited. Some of them did an interview process and actually interviewed some participants and decided in the end. Others just knew great young people who would benefit from the project. Another good thing to mention about that is that, and Janine kind of touched on it as well, it's a really learning laboratory where some perhaps specialists and non-specialists get together. So we had people on the program, like, for example, Annie, I hope you don't mind. Annie had never formally studied, peace and conflict, but she learned a lot. We had other people that had masters in peace and conflict studies, and one was doing a PhD in peace and conflict studies, and they said they learned loads that they'd never studied before on their academic programs. This is what it should all be about: learning laboratory, bringing different people together. So that's a little bit about how the teams were selected and what the makeup is of those teams. Now, what we want to do is move on. And
I would also mention that a lot of it has to do with the coordinators that commit to recruit the team. It's who's in their network, who are people. Maybe they're part of a nonprofit that already has a group of young leaders that they want to further train and have this experience. Or maybe it's in a Rotary district where they have good relationships with Rotaractors that they know they can bring in and recruit. So each country team is a little bit different, but it has a lot to do with the coordinators' network and how they can reach out in their particular country.
Yes, yeah, that's a great point, Tom. And on that as well, one of the other things to highlight is that this is a developmental program. So what do we mean by that? Those that are participating in the program, thank you to Rotarians and to other funders, receive a scholarship. He is going to say something about that shortly, but they sign up for the process. And this is the big word that you will see on the program when you're part of it. It's about a process. You sign up the process of 6 weeks of peace education and 8 weeks of peace action. So you can't just sign up and after 2 weeks, okay, I won't finish. It's about really committing to the developmental process of ongoing learning and action. So because people are receiving scholarships, thank you to the donors and sponsors that are making this possible. So with that in mind, it might be a good point here. I think you're on the next part. If you can share the slide where it says ways to get involved, because there's often people thinking. So over to you here, please, to talk about the next steps.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you, Tom. For those wanting to be involved or support the PEAI experience, here are some next steps. So if you're an adult or you're from an organization passionate about supporting young leaders, please make the PEAI available by providing scholarships for young people. The costing and the scholarship will be $300. $300 enables a young person between the ages of 18 and 35 to go through the whole program. Each team, as mentioned by Tom, requires mentors and coordinators, so please feel free to volunteer for this. And of course, share this project with your friends, your colleagues, and your networks. For further information, you can always reach out to Phil on the mentioned email ID.
Super. Thank you. Here now over to you, Veronica, I think, to talk about some milestones.
Can I just emphasize one thing? I can't emphasize more the platform that we have for the education. It's available 24/7. You can do the training at your own time during that 6 weeks. And it has resources that you can go into very deeply, or you can just read the text. It's really adaptable for that. But I think the brilliance of this program is that it's international, is that we have this curriculum that you can access anytime.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tom. And can we go to the next slide, Annie, please? Since we started already talking about the timing, actually the project will start on February 3rd. But before that, we have a lot of steps that we need to do. So first, from this day until January 15, we're gonna actually do the in-country work, recruitment and selection. I see that there are questions in the chat about the selection. So as diverse as possible, it's gonna be the best option to have different teams. Then in January, we're gonna do the onboarding of the in-country project teams. Then we have the actual educational part, which is going to start on February 3rd, as we already explained. And then about the part 2, which is section, it's going to start in March 2025. So this is in terms of the program. You can have more information if you click on the link below. And if you have, again, any questions about the program or anything else, please write it in the chat or ask at the end of the Q&A.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And as people are just writing the questions and answers, I just want to do a bit of a shout out, if that's okay, to the amazing, amazing, amazing job that Hia and Veronica have done in hosting this. And apologies for me for having technical issues. I'm on Zoom all the time. I don't know why it happened, but apologies from my part. But let's just give a huge round of applause and congratulations, to Hia and Veronica for doing an amazing job, because it's really difficult managing all these different things. And I think they've done an amazing job. So Hia, Veronica, thank you for your leadership, and it's a real pleasure to work with you. Thank you. So please, as Veronica said, please, if anybody has any questions, you can write them in the chat, and you can also, if you wanted to, put your hand up and unmute yourself, if that's okay, if you think that's okay, Hia and Veronica, so we can give people a chance to talk. And by the way, we want to be respectful of time, so we'll finish in 12 minutes, but I can stay on to answer any other questions if, any of the other panelists need to go. So please, whoever has any questions.
I have a question. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Shanti from Sri Lanka. We have been doing a lot of peace-related activities in Sri Lanka because of 30 years conflict. So we are interested to join the training program because of signal issue. I could not follow the session, whole session and instructions, how can I get those, the whole session, recordings, or, because of, it is heavy raining here in Sri Lanka, a huge signal issue. I could not follow your speech. How can I get information and recordings?
Okay. Thank you. So one is those that have registered for the webinar will automatically receive a link for the video so they can watch it whenever they want. In addition, I'm going to put in the link here to Peace Education Action for Impact. You can find that there in the link in the chat. I've just put it into the chat. And you can also write to me at this email. We would love to hear from you. I just noticed as well that we have another global team member. Bob, can you give us a wave? So Bob is another global team member from the global team, and he's come on board on the latest iteration. So thank you, Bob. And Bob has also been involved with actually funding quite a lot of the teams in 2021 and 2023 as well as his clubs and districts. So I don't know if you want to just say anything, Bob. Just give you a chance.
Yeah, can I send my WhatsApp? I'm using my mobile to join the session. Could you please send me the WhatsApp message, the link, and your email address?
I don't know how we can send that. Shanti, I put in the chat my email address, so please feel free to email me. Thank you. Bob,
okay,
are you okay?
Yes, our Rotary Club in Evergreen, Colorado has been excited to support a couple of the project teams in the past 2 iterations. We supported a team in Serbia and a team in Ghana. And every Rotarian is a peace builder as part of what we do. And so we need to do a better job, myself, in communicating that to Rotary Club so we can help fund these projects, which are excellent. So thank you very much.
Bob. I don't know, any other questions here? Veronica, can you see that maybe need addressing that I'm missing here?
Yes, we're gonna get some questions from the chat, but we receive a lot of questions about the recording. So again, for those who joined late, guys, you're gonna receive an email for the email where you registered with the recording of the session. So don't worry if you missed the beginning. You're gonna have the opportunity to see it again. So some questions from the chat. Okay, we have one from Rushadi. I hope I pronounced it correctly. My question is, what do you think are the possibilities for Pakistan to engage in peace collaborations with other nations?
Well, actually, funny enough, you're saying that. I'm just responding to this right now. So I don't know. Oh, Naheed. There we go. So Dr. Naheed is here. So and Moise as well, who are both from Pakistan. So Dr. Naheed is a wonderful scholar and Rotary Peace Fellow. And Moise is a Rotarian leader from Pakistan. Now, our dream is to have a Pakistan team in February. In addition to that, Naheed, are you okay? Do you want to say a little bit what you, others, Moise and I are working on with regards to the upcoming project?
Yeah, thank you very much, Phil, for the nice presentations. And yes, these questions were from Pakistani students. I was just looking through it. So, Rushali, if it were your questions, so I would just respond that this is the beginning of the peace projects we would be initiating in future in Pakistan. So hopefully this education is the first step, I believe. And this is why in this short course, I have included the students from PhD level, MPhil, undergrad, and then from the school level, O levels and metric, from all over the Pakistan, maybe except Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we have students across Pakistan. So it is just the beginning, and hopefully Phil is there now, your host, and I am here in Pakistan, and we can always collaborate and start working on peace projects. But maybe we will be better able to decide by the end of this peace course. Probably in the 5th week, we will be better able to engage ourselves. So this was on my side. I hope I could satisfy Roshali. Yeah.
Thank you, Naheed. Thank you. And I can see some people writing in the chat with regards to different countries, such as Honduras and Egypt and Afghanistan and other places. Basically, we're really interested in working with you. It's kind of like Tom said. These projects in the 19 countries that we work with wouldn't have worked if it was just us driving it. It had to be kind of leaders like Janine, in Guernsey, or Annie in Venezuela, that really said, we really need this work in our country. So you need to come to us and say, can we be part of this project and can we work together? So we really want to hear from you. For example, Bob, you're in contact, aren't you, with Honduras? I noticed as someone from Honduras has expressed an interest. We'd love to have a Honduras team. I know you're in contact with someone, Bob. I don't know if you want to say something about that.
Yes, I'll text Alejandra, who's from who put a thing in the chat. I will text that person now and try to make that contact and make sure that happens. The question that was made was, could there be a Central American team, for example, rather than just a team from one country?
We can discuss this. We've had discussions. It's co-created this work together, okay, with the global team and with our local partners. Nothing's set in stone. We can discuss this as an option. I want to say that we would love to have a Central American team because we haven't had one so far from Central America. Y también hablo español, entonces podemos hablar en español si quieren también. I also speak Spanish as well, so we can speak in Spanish and organize this as well, if helpful. But the answer is we can definitely discuss these things. Any other questions here, or Veronica?
I see one question which says, will the educational materials be accessible to the public?
Some of them are accessible to the public. Some of them are available on World Beyond War's website, but not all of them. It's this project. I've got to be honest, it's really high quality, and we've drawn from the best of the best that's available in the peace studies field, right, from masters through to PhD level, but made available. Annie always reminds me of this, which is great. She always says that it was really, really in depth, but it was written in such a way that made it kind of understandable to all different people. So there's a reason why people get scholarships, to join the project, because they're signing up for access, not just access to the quality materials, but access to the experience, which Janine also spoke about, and others, and going through this developmental project. If you think about it, a peace and studies training course would be thousands, if you wanted to go and study. So we're trying to make it available to people, not thousands, and working with different Rotarian clubs, districts, etc., and other organizations, because I've got to do a shout out. There's many other organizations, probably about another 20 organizations which aren't part of Rotary, that also funded the scholarships for the young people. So hopefully that answers that question.
So, Phil, can you talk about the collaborative Zoom calls that we'll have throughout the course?
Yes.
To bring the country teams together.
Thank you, Tom. Yes. As you go through the 6 weeks and 8 weeks, there's a couple of things which we also set up. So in part 1, there's at least 3 calls which bring all the country, like we are today, bring all the country project teams together to kind of get to know each other, develop relationships, etc., in addition to engagement online. And then as they're going through part 2 of the project, we have opportunities, I think at least 2 or 3 opportunities, where the country project teams present their ongoing ideas with regards to their peace projects. Now, outside of this, like I said before, outside of this, some other countries, they organise outside of the Peace Education and Action for Impact project, and that's something we 1000% encourage, to reach out to the other countries, and it really is beautiful, you know, getting these young people together, like Janine spoke about, you know. It was really great to know some of your young people, you know, Janine, in Guernsey. It really was, you know, and to see how I felt, and I thought we've seen that they kind of developed through this process, you know, as well as many other young people. So yes, thank you for reminding me about that, Tom.
And
Anything
we
else?
have one raised hand and then a couple more questions in the chat.
Oh, is that Nahid? Yeah, okay.
Just I wanted to say about the questions because they are already answering, and I would just say that Nakibullah, this Afghan student, they have joined this program because I had offered them from the University of Lahore and studying in Pakistan. So he is very much interested to know how Afghan youth can be involved in this project. So I would request that he should be responded. Yeah. He has written in the chat box, Nakibullah. Yeah.
Okay, super.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah. We have a question. Can we get a brief information document about the organization, which includes how we can make a project, how we can collaborate, how mentors help us, and so on?
Well, we've put in the chat. We put in the chat the link to Peace Education Action for Impact, and also an email address. But I can also put in World Beyond War email address website here. Now, for those that won't be able to get a country project team together, please reach out to us anyway, because as you know, Rotary is a wonderful network with doing lots of great work around the world. I assume many of you know about the work of Rotary. World Beyond War is also another grassroots global network, which is focused on trying to end the war system and promote a peace system where peace is pursued by peaceful means. Now, we have chapters, so World Beyond War chapter Afghanistan. We have an Afghanistan chapter, by the way, if people are interested. So I would suggest going onto our website, WorldBeyondWar.org, and checking out how to try and work with us. You can also go onto World Beyond War. We have a resources database where if you're looking for anything to do with peace, conflict, violence, security, you can go onto World Beyond War and check out our resources and click what you're looking for, and it'll come up with flyers, with videos, with, I don't know, brochures, links to other readings, etc. that you can find. So please reach out to us via the email and via the website. Now, I'll do a shout out now to tell everybody that we've reached kind of the end, but before I want to take the hands up, so we're going to take them now. But I know here and Veronica were reminding me, which is great. Photo, no? Do you want to take over here?
Yes, guys, we would like to make a group photo with everyone. So we would kindly ask you to, if you're comfortable, of course, to put on your video so we can have a picture together. And then we're gonna answer all the questions that we have. So I'm gonna wait a couple of seconds so everybody can put their video on.
Beautiful smiles there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, are you ready? Please give me a big smile now, and I'm gonna make a screenshot. Perfect. Okay, and let's have another one for the second part of the group. Absolutely.
And yes.
Okay, one more. Perfect. And let me just make one more because we have more people on the second page of the Zoom. We have many people today, so thank you for joining. So again, guys, please smile. Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for joining and for seeing your beautiful faces here.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining us. And if people need to go now, we understand. We want to respect your time, but I will stay on, and whoever wants to stay, please stay, because I can keep chatting. But just thank you so much. Hopefully you're walking away, you're going away from the session today with a bit of an understanding of what Peace Education Action for Impact is, how it works, how it can be impactful, how communities, Rotarians, clubs, districts can support young people to take part in these projects, and ways to get involved in the next iteration, which starts in February, but planning is underway now. So please reach out to us if you're interested. So, and reach out to us if you can't be in the project, but you want to be involved in peace work or you know, keep involved. We still want to hear from you. We want to work with you and learn with you and from you. So please reach out to us. So thank you so much. Love to everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yes, I will stay. And thank you to the speakers. Massive round of applause before the speakers need to go as well, because Janine, Björn, Annie, thank you so much. Here, Tom, Bob, Veronica, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And who had their hand up first here? I don't know who was.
Yeah, first it was Ms. Hafez, if I
Yes.
pronounce it correctly.
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, I'm from Rotary Club of Alexandria Cosmopolitan, and I have a question because most of the young Rotary actors who would like to join very much are very worried about the time. The time required hours per week for the educational course. And actually for the project, maybe they can just organize their own time and work through the project. But for the educational part, they need to know the time. How many hours per week and at what time is it? Because actually this is their main worry. Many of them are still in college and some of them are starting to work, and so it's the time constraints that worrying to join.
Yes. Great question. Amazing, amazing question. If I had my slides as well working, I could have shown you. But what this is one of the things that we thought about when putting the project together. So we have young people, of course, everybody are all really, really busy. They do it around their studies or around their work. Each week, we suggest between 3 and 6 hours, okay, that they commit to the project. So this is reading through the material, engaging online, and they can do this whenever they want. So all of the young people from all of the 19 countries pretty much manage to do, you know, to engage accordingly. I know we're all busy people, but 3 to 6 hours in the week for something, you know, that potentially transformative is doable. For those that are really interested, I know lots of people are interested, but are really, really interested, we will send through information with regards to a roles and responsibilities document for the potential coordinators, and it lists what is kind of expected from the coordinators, the mentors and the young people in terms of time commitments. And you can also find that information online as well on the Peace Education Action for Impact website, where it states clearly 3 to 6 hours. So does that answer your question, sir? Hopefully.
Yes, thank you so much. This is, the flexibility is very important for them. Thank you so much.
Great question. Great question. Thank you. And we'd love to work with you. So please reach out to us. Thank you. Vasanti, the wonderful Vasanti. Hello.
Very fascinating. On 26th of November, can you make the same presentation for the RAGFP India chapter? I will get all the districts together, and I want us all to listen together and put something together for RAGFP India chapter, which they could do. If that is a possibility, I would love it. It would be around 7:38 IST. And we will get all the RAGFP team together. That is one question I have. Can I go to the next question?
Yes, I don't know if I'm following you fully, but please share whatever you need to share in the chat. I'm sure that's fine for people who are interested. Yes, please go to the next question. I think you're breaking up a little bit.
I would like to be a mentor for maybe youth, high school kids in terms of these processes, because we did something fabulous in the recent past, and it has been very exciting. Today also I work with 13 to 18-year-olds on working with non-human stakeholders in peace. Because of so much of climate change happening, with a lot of inclusions into nature. So that's my second question.
A mentor, actually, what has happened on some of the countries, I think Annie's gone, has she? But on one of the countries, for example, Venezuela, they had mentors from Venezuela and not from Venezuela. And they find that quite helpful, actually, because the mentors brought a different perspective or lens for seeing things. So maybe, Basanti, let's be in contact with regards to that. And your expertise would be very much appreciated. So yes, let's be in touch with regards to that. I think, is it Jessica, the next question maybe?
Yeah, just before that, we had the one about mentorship again, and they were asking if the mentor is going to be from the same country that can help them understand the project and to lead them. But I think you just summed up, so I hope this answered the question.
Yeah. So the mentor is really, really crucial. So the mentor works with the young people throughout the 6 weeks of peace education and the 8 weeks. So the good thing is the mentor gets free access, and the coordinator gets free access to the program because they're volunteering their time to be mentors, right? Coordinators. But the mentor really, really does the work when they move into part 2, because we encourage the country project teams to meet once a week to discuss how they're doing with their projects for the 8 weeks. And the mentor is there really to guide the process. We use this, Björn did a great job, youth-led, adult-supported, community-rooted projects. So the mentor's really, crucial. And we will have, the global team puts together a mentor training before the project starts to better support the mentors to be effective mentors throughout the process. So if people are interested, please reach out to us.
And based off that, there was one more question on ways to get involved as a global member with PEAI or as a PEAI ambassador.
Okay. Please reach out to any of us on the global team. So Tom's here, Hia's here, Veronica's here, Bob's here, I'm here. You've got my email address. You can write to me if you're interested in. We meet, and this is the big thing that I really do want to do a shout out to the global team members, all of them here, but particularly Tom as well, because Tom and others and I have been on calls pretty much lots of Mondays, let's say, since 2021, because there's a lot of work that goes into planning this and preparing this. It really does take a lot of work. So that's what happens in the global team meetings. We meet once a week to plan and strategize. So if people are interested in being on the global team, then let us know and reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you, for sure. And actually, I will just say that's how Hia got involved. Hia reached out because I think you said that you might have heard me speaking on a webinar or something like this, and you reached out, and I thought, well, actually, you're great, and I think you do a brilliant, be a great contributor, and the same with Veronica as well. So that's how it came about. So here's a little lesson for everyone: always ask. Sometimes people think, oh, I don't know whether I can write to that person. Write to them, ask them, what can they do? They could say no. But generally, most people are nice and they will say yes, so, and it's hopefully a great opportunity. I learned loads more from the likes of Hia, Bob, Veronica and Tom than they will ever learn from me. So it's just a brilliant experience to work with these wonderful people. Jessica, thank you for waiting. Do you have a question?
Yes, please.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, hello everyone. So this is Jessica from Tanzania. So my question is, what does it take for a person to be a mentor? So am I supposed to go through a training, and then after that training, and then I'll be qualified to be a mentor? And also, do you have a community or a community here in Tanzania, or have you ever done a project here in Tanzania? Or if not in Tanzania, maybe because I stay in Arusha. Arusha is a little bit nearby to Kenya. So is there anything maybe you can do so that I can be part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am mental health advocate and also a trauma advocate, and currently I'm learning to become a trauma informed coach. So mental health and trauma, they so relate with this. So for a person to be traumatized, there must be um, um, something related to peace distraction. So I would like to know, and I would love to connect these three things so that I can educate my community. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Well, the first thing is to say we would love to hear from you anyway, you know, more broadly. The second thing to say is that we did a project in 2021 with Kenya, so Kenya was involved, and they did some great great things in Kenya. It's worth remembering this thing though. Remember that this is not. It's not a project that just like one person from a country can be involved with. What they need to do is recruit a country project team, and that requires 14 people. And one of the 14 people, two of the 14 people will be mentors. So that's how you can be. So Jessica, you've got a task. Go out there and recruit 13 others. Yeah, what we need to do is have a Tanzania team. It would be great. The final thing to say is that so a great buddy of mine is on the call, Andreas. Now he is really qualified and experienced in trauma. So you might want to reach out to him, to Andreas as well, on trauma-informed work. I'm a psychotherapist by training as well, but Andreas specializes in kind of trauma-informed approaches and things. Do you want to say hello, Andreas? Andreas is a really good friend of mine, by the way, so I just wanted to let everybody know that. Hi, Andreas.
Hi, Phil. Thanks for reaching out. Yes, please get in touch with me. I have trained in trauma counseling a couple of years ago, and I also try to include a trauma-informed approach here in my peace work with youth in the south of Colombia. So Phil has my email and my WhatsApp. So yeah, please reach out. No problem.
Please feel free to put it in the chat as well, Andreas. Go ahead if anybody wants to, reach out. Hopefully that's helpful, Jessica. But for everybody, please reach out to us. You've got our email. We'd love to hear from you. Tom?
I would just say to Jessica, in Arusha, there are 6 Rotary clubs. And that would be a good place to go to and let them know about the program and see if they want to be involved as either mentors or coordinators in bringing it together. So connect with the Rotary clubs in your town.
Yeah. Any other questions or any other thoughts? Anybody else want to say hello or anything before we kind of say goodbye today?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
This is Mustafa Ali from northeastern Nigeria. So I just want to ask whether this program in Nigeria can be able to participate in this, this program, because considering the level of violent conflict that happened in Nigeria, especially northeastern part of the country, I think it's very important to have a Nigerian team. Thank you so much.
Yes, so the answer is yes. We had a great Nigeria team in 2021, and we still continue to collaborate with some of them from the Nigeria team. That's not to say that we can't have the country again. So, for example, thanks to Tom, we had a Ghana team involved in 2023, but there's lots of interest that they want to be involved in 2025. So it looks like we will have a Ghana team. If people in Nigeria want to be involved again, because Nigeria is huge and I've learned a fair bit about Nigeria, then please reach out to us. But one of the things we need to do is find the support of Rotarian clubs, districts, to provide scholarships, to the young people. So that's another thing, one of the best ways of doing that is if you go and speak to these organizations or the Rotary clubs or Rotary districts and say, I want to be involved. you know, in this project. So, and Vasanti, I think I'm seeing a message from you as well. Yes, for sure, we can do a presentation for you. It would be wonderful to have I'm sure Hia would agree. It would be wonderful to have a team from India. So if there's any possibilities of that, again, given the size of India, it's funny that we haven't had a team from India yet. You know, we really should. So yes, please. And if anybody wants any of the global team members to do a presentation for them, you know, separate, please reach out to us. I did see a hand up. Did one go down? I'm sorry if I missed that. Have we missed anyone here or Veronica?
Yes,
Oh,
we
yes,
have one
please.
hand up. The floor is yours.
Yes, go ahead. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, you should unmute yourself first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Selassie. I'm from Ghana. I wasn't really excited when the session was slated for today because today is my birthday, but having participated, pumped, and I can't wait to work with the team. I must say I really enjoyed the session. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Did
so much
everybody
for
hear
the
that? I could
feedback.
not hear that very well.
He was just sharing the feedback and happy birthday to you. Thank you for joining us
Oh,
on
happy
your special
birthday!
day.
Happy birthday!
We're very glad you enjoyed the
birthday.
session and that you spent your birthday talking about peace. This is speaking a lot about yourself.
Yes. Peace. Happy birthday. Well, I guess if there's no other questions, I guess we will say.
Okay, I
Hello.
Yes, please. Dr. John, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to greet you. Unfortunately, I didn't get the time right, but I'll do my best next time to be on time. And Tom told me a lot about this program when we were together in Alabama last year, and I've been willing to be part of it. And maybe we will catch up, then we'll ask if you can help us talk to our different groups, because I belong to the Rotary Peace Fellow Alumni Association. So would be very glad to have you talk about the issue of how ending war. So yeah, that is it. So it was just introducing myself, and I do hope that next time we'll have much talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Where are you from, Dr. John? I didn't catch that. Where are you from?
I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo, the eastern part, which is ravaged by war.
Yes. Well, please reach out to us. We would love to work with you and be in collaboration. Let me put my details in the chat. But thank you. Thanks for joining us, Dr. John. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, I'm from Sri Lanka. We have established 19 social reconciliation centers in all the state universities in Sri Lanka. So we are going to offer fees education for undergraduate and postgraduate. Now we are planning to develop curriculum. Is there any opportunity to get your involvement?
Yes, 1000%. I would love to be. We would love to be in conversations with you about that for sure. As you heard, we're in discussions with various other universities in various other countries, but we've run several pilots with universities. So please, Shanti, reach out to us with regards to that. I'm putting my in the chat here again for you. But yes, it would be great to learn more about what you're looking to do and see if we can collaborate.
Yeah, please. I have sent my WhatsApp number. If we can share, then we can have a personal discussion on that. Thank you.
Okay, I'm putting my my WhatsApp as well in the message for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Super.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Anybody else?
Hello, sir.
Hello there. Administrator. Hello.
Hello. My name is Matiullah Safi, an Afghan student at the University of Lahore in Pakistan. And also, for your information, I'm a refugee in Pakistan. So I just wondering if you could a little bit talk about the refugees, if we can have a representative or a mentor in refugees class here in Pakistan.
So thank you. Nice to meet you, and thank you for joining us. I don't know, are you going to be part of the project with Moise? And he is. Okay, Moise. Moise, do you want to talk? Do you want to come in there? And
Yeah. So thank you, Phil. And yes, as Dr. Nahid already mentioned that he's part of the course in Pakistan. So I think his question is regarding can we have a refugee, a person related to the refugees issue on the course. So I mean maybe we can discuss it, Phil, because we have a broader peace building and peace education topics on our course, but I'm not sure if we have specific topics related to refugee crisis, but we can always discuss in these topics during the course.
Yeah, because what we do on the course is, like Moise said, so Moise is speaking about this specific project we will do starting on the 4th of November with Pakistan students and Afghanistan students. We have about 27 that have signed up from different universities, and it's a pilot that we're running with Moise's club, the university that Dr. Nahid is part of, and World Beyond War. And we put together a 6-week program starting from a broad overview of peace education and peace building right through to regional perspectives. So an Asian perspective, and maybe Andreas, hopefully, if he's free, he can give a perspective on Latin America. My colleague can give a perspective on Africa. But within the first session, I will speak a little bit about the broader context of peace and conflict work. The fact that the refugee crisis that we have around the world goes back to the fact that we have the war system and the fact that we have wars. War is the leading cause of the refugee crisis. War is the leading cause of a major contributor to the climate crisis because it's the leading user of fossil fuels and the biggest polluter on the planet. It's the biggest cause of death, injury, and trauma. These are all things that we will be exploring in the Pakistan course, but also on the Peace Education Action for Impact. Zahira, did you want to go? Hey there. Oh, you're on. I can't hear you. Can anybody else hear?
Can you
No, unfortunately, no sound.
Oh.
I think we can hear her now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. Yes.
Now, yes.
Thank you for the opportunity. I love this session, especially because I'm still, I'm currently a student and I'm doing international peace studies. So I was just, thinking about broadening the definition of peace, because many times when we're talking about war, we forget that there's structural violence. And, when we talk about refugees, we also have a lot of internal migration. We also have, these pockets of violence that we can never really tap into. And so I was just trying to, look at how we can sustain peace and not just, just the absence of conflict or absence of war. And, and also try to build a cross-regional solidarity, because that really helps, especially when we look at the example of Sri Lanka, where we did have the UN, we did have the EU trying to understand the internal conflict and how that was able and how they were able to come up with peace negotiations and how we can mobilize the international community, because a lot of times like even in the case of Gaza, where we have the international community that is trying its best to ask for a ceasefire, ask for the end of occupation. So it's how this can lead to well, decisions and, you know, negotiations and reconciliation. So it's a lot of things. If we can probably, you know, sort of, I think it's coming from the place where I'm from, because I'm from India, but right now I'm an island. So you know, it really sort of makes you feel, oh, where do I put myself? Like, what is my positionality? And, you know, and how that really impacts how we look at conflict, how we building the research, and how, so it's a lot of things that, you know, I feel like we can work on it if I'm of any help. So I would.
Well, please write to me. Some of the things that you're saying are really interesting. I mean, on the Peace Education Action for Impact project, for example, we have a module which looks at peaceful ways of being with self. And in there, there's a part which is put together how to develop a peace builder identity. So this talks about some of the things that you're talking about, because we have multiple identities, right? So this looks at this. The other thing that you're talking about is kind of the need for a broader definition of what peace building means. Now, there's often within peace building this either or. There's either those that are kind of, you know, oh, negative peace, and those that are positive peace. We need both and, okay? I'll do a little plug here. So we have our book.
I can't see it, I think, because of the blurred background.
Yeah, so it's called A Global Security System. So this is our book, which basically lays out a blueprint for working towards a peace system where peace is pursued by peaceful means. Now, this is something I'm working on now. And we've just done some focus groups with people to give us feedback on the book. That could be, if you're interested, please write to me, email me, and I'd happily send you a copy of the book and you could give us feedback. Additionally, I don't know your background, but if you want to send to me your details about your background, sound interesting, send to me and we can see if there's any other ways of collaborating.
Sure. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Okay, well, everyone, it has been lovely. I need to go as well. So just thank you for all the questions. Thank you for your interests. And we hope, this is what I'll leave it with. We hope that our time here today leads to more time together in the future. Let's leave it at that. You know, we hope that our time here today leads to more time together in the future. Thank you so much. Sending lots of love, and we hope to be in contact with you soon. Thank you so much, everybody. And Veronica here, amazing job again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Bjorn. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you so much.